Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in. Let's talk about silver. We're still tracking, and there's a lot of market movement with silver. Silver is up. It's been banging for the last month and a half. It's up almost 12%, $2.69. Year to date, it's up $1.49, shy of $1.50. That's a 6.15% increase year to date. 25.71. It's creeping up to the $26 mark. This is a good sign for all of our silver stackers who have been buying and buying and buying, waiting for the price of silver to jump so we can make some profit. For most of you that I've been looking at in the comments, doesn't matter what the price of silver is, you're still buying for a disaster in the fiat currency system that we have in the United States. And this is just a good sign for you in general, overall. But most of you don't care about the price. But for someone like me who invests in silver, I do. So right now, at the end of the last month of the year, it's performed. And it's performed well, just covering about 12% of an increase. But check this out. We've been comparing them to the S&P 500, A-Mark Precious Metals, and the SLV stock. S&P 500 is up 20% year to date. We had a phenomenal run in the middle of the entire year from March all the way up until August. It was pumping. And then we had a decrease for a couple of months, hitting a bottom low in October, the last week of October. And then since Halloween, it just has skyrocketed back up 20%. So we have about 29 days left for the end of the year. Will the S&P continue to grow? I believe so. I think it's going to probably give us a 25% return for the end of the year for the S&P 500. It might go down to maybe 18 in the last 30 days of the year. I don't see that. I see like more people buying for Christmas. So I think that we're going to finish the year out strong with the S&P over a 20% return. Man. If you're buying and investing the S&P 500, it shows you that, as long as you do your due diligence and buy during the right times, because if you got into the S&P 500 at a 20% return, you lost a lot of money. And to dollar cost average back, if you were dollar cost averaging all the way until Halloween, it's very, very hard to make that money back. But this big spike was very, very good for anyone holding an S&P ETF. I myself hold a mutual fund for a Charles Schwab mutual fund for an S&P 500, which is kind of different from the ETFs. If you guys don't know, the mutual funds settle at the end of the day. So you don't buy shares, you put an amount of money that you want to buy, and at the end of the day it settles, and then they whatever the price was determined is the amount of shares that you end up holding, or the amount of money that's in the account, what it's worth now. But the ETFs, you buy shares at a time, and I also do that for my custodial account for my child. That person holds SL, I think it's PG, which is a Charles Schwab ETF 500. I think it's a Spider from State Street ETF 500. It's a lower cost average one. It's not like the most popular ones like SPY or VOO or VTI or anything like that. One of them, I can't remember which one. I think it's VOO that tracks the S&P 500. But, they're more reasonably priced. They're around less than $55 per share, as opposed to SPY, which is almost $400. So it's kind of easier to accumulate more and more shares of. But wow, S&P 500 number one hitter for the entire investment sector that we've been tracking. A-Mark Precious Metals is back up. It actually, for the year, it's down 13%. So it took a massive hit. Again, that I believe is from the peak of selling so much silver and gold during the last 2 years because of the pandemic. Everyone thought everything's going to crap, and that's still considered highly in the community. Gold just started to peak over at 2,000, and everyone's getting excited again. Everyone's talking about recession again, and so this should start to go back up. I'm pretty convinced that this is going to start to go back up. The beginning of November, the first week of November would have been prime to start buying this. It was at, it sunk down to $24, $25 a share. I looked at it. I had the buying opportunity to buy it, but I didn't have enough capital. So at $25, if you're going to buy 100 shares, which I think is like the minimum of what you should be buying, for the most, for the maximum of your gains, it's going to cost you $2,500 just to buy 100 shares, which is out of my park right now. I can't do that. I'm focusing all my money towards debt. So I didn't pull the trigger on it. I'm buying any A-Mark, but I'm still keeping a close eye on it as a stacker. I want to be backed. I want my portfolio to have this. To me, this would be better than putting physical bullion in a self-directed IRA account. If I hold A-Mark Precious Metals, I'm exposed to the bullion sales, which determines, which to me is better. But we have SLV, which is the digital buffalo round. In my eyes, it's back up year to date, almost 6%. Best opportunity was back in March, like we talked about, and also there's a big dip in October, the first week of October. Since then, it's been tracking back up, and this is going to probably be remaining strong. I think that silver is still going to continue to do well for the last 30 days, 29 days of the year. I talked about the run that I'm expecting in presidential election. I want the S&P and so this is my theory. During a presidential election every 4 years, the economy, the stock market, everything has to be going good. When people are struggling and they're paying a lot for gasoline, they don't have any extra money to spend, the votes don't really go out as much. So there's not a whole lot of interaction in the presidential election. There's, things can happen that they don't want to, so they want to control as much as they can. They want the most amount of people to go and vote. So what they do is they lower gasoline during those times. They give you extra money to spend during those times, so you're not stressed out and you're not hating a specific person that's running. So everything financially should be in good spirits as best it can. Not everyone's in the world is going to be in a good position. Not everyone in the nation is going to be in a good position, but as my theory, that's what I feel like has happened in the last 4 years. The economy is supposed to be doing good when president-elects come in. Silver and gold, we just had that recession. We had a black swan event. I feel like this 2024 is when it's going to run. And I've said this in countless videos prior. So I'm excited to see what 2024 is going to bring as far as silver. If it goes past 30, I'm going to be selling my silver. Just to offload some stuff that I don't really want. Maybe it was too much of a premium or something. I kind of want to focus my things on certain kind of coins, and I focus the majority of my stuff on government-backed bullion rounds. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, and try to get rid of some of the more collectible stuff if silver goes past 30. But we'll see. We'll see. It depends if, obviously the money that I spent on silver, it's gone. Like, I don't expect to have any of it back. It's gone. I'll never get it back. So, if something does happen where it does go past 30, I may take a look and say, should I get rid of some of this silver and just kind of buy different type of silver later. Obviously you don't sell and then go buy at $30. You kind of have to hold out and wait, but we'll see what happens. I'm kind of optimistic for this coming year on what silver's performance will do, but I'm also optimistic on what the S&P 500 is going to do as well. To me, that's the no-brainer. Everyone who's silver stacking should be having, who buy stocks should have an S&P 500 ETF in there. And then just be careful of where you get in. Right now, it's too high to get in. You would be setting your money aside. And if it goes lower in the beginning of the year, that's when you want to buy. Anytime that the S&P produces more than 10% return, it gets more and more risky to buy at that level. So you want to refrain from buying it at those levels. So you look at the 52-week high, 4,600, we're there. Like right now is not the time to be buying S&P 500 ETFs. So that's something to consider if you guys are dollar cost averaging in. All you're doing is paying more money for the same product. So don't get trapped doing that, because dollar cost averaging when you buy at a 52-week high and it goes running down to a 52-week low is extremely hard to dollar cost average. Normally, if you've bought 100 shares when it peaked and now it's back down, 40%, it's gone down negative 40%, and you're trying to dollar cost average, you would have to buy probably 700, 800 7 or 800 more shares, just a dollar cost average, to get that gap resolved and set at the trading level. It's extremely hard, you guys. Don't be caught doing that. If you can avoid it, avoid it at all costs. But so we're in the end of the month, the start of the end of the month. Silver's on a good spot right now, 6%. S&P right now is doing triple that. AMAR Precious Metals is down for the year, so that's interesting. Bullion sales, it's gone up a little bit since the first week of November. So for the last month, it's been trailing up. It's going to trend to continue to go up because more people are going to buy during Christmas. And then if we do have a really good rush on gold and silver for next year, this is going to get more and more expensive. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And then SLV, if you are a stacker and you get tired of buying and then running down to the pawn shop to kind of offload some money, this is much easier. I've said it before. The digital buffalo round is what I call this. Look for it if you're buying. It's even cheaper than the actual silver ounce. So now you're not paying any premium to it. You can pick it up digitally, the tips of your fingers, and you can buy as much as you can. Right. So to me, this is the easier trade if you're trying to make money off the price of silver. All right, guys, it was kind of quick to recap. I'm going to be waiting around for this one. It's going to go live in 2 hours. This is Stacking Surfer, who had an awesome live stream with Darrell Thomas from the Money Level Show. They were trying, God bless their souls, man. They were trying to answer some questions that I had. I'm trying to, kind of put myself into their position on how they think when they buy assets. Obviously, Stacking Surfer is an extremely successful man, and he has a beautiful family, lives by the beach, which is super expensive, and he's done extremely well for himself. So just getting some background from him in that live stream was it was an eye opener. It was totally cool. I thought for sure he came from money, and he was backed and maybe got a daddy loan, but that's not the case at all. He's made his way every inch. So kudos to him. And then Darrell Thomas, he's from the Money Level Show. His show is great as well. He interviews so many people, who he considers all their mentors. And, I just love the interaction when he's doing his live streams, because I get to really see how he thinks and how he goes about picking and choosing stocks and what to look at. And I can totally be just neutral with him and ask whatever silly questions I have, and he does his best to answer. So I really appreciate that. It's something that you never get to see in live streams. I was browsing on YouTube and I saw Yankee Stacking's live stream, and there was like 600-700 people. Only subscribers are allowed to interact in his live streams and stuff. And I was just like, the stream is just going back and forth, and I was like, man, how can anyone who follows your channel interact with you on a kind of personal level? And you just can't. There's just no way, and it's crazy. But shout out to Yankee Stacking. He's done extremely well for his channel. That's awesome. Again, a massive content creator in the silver community. All three of these guys, I feel like they're all, pretty much on that same level. So shout out to these guys. Thank you guys again for hosting me on your guys' live stream, just interacting with me and giving me all that attention. I know there was very minimal amount of people, but it still felt really, really good. I hope one day I can, drink a beer with you guys, or have a beverage, or have some dinner with you guys and sit down and talk about this stuff, because it does really, really interest me. But the majority that I think interests me the most is how you guys pick and choose your investments, and what you guys buy as far as assets. So thanks again, guys. Everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm sick. I'm still getting over getting sick. So I'm gonna take some medication and go and rest a little bit. Happy blessings. Happy stacking.